We were both just talking about how the first screen goes, it whatever the posture is. In the earlier sessions that we've done, I've been looking away or something, so we want to have a
It's
collective.
funny how LinkedIn
Love it.
does that. It doesn't let us have put
Pick the
our
screen. Yeah.
own image up because even when you record videos on LinkedIn, you
You
have to
can.
be really conscious of like how it starts because I've had a couple videos where I'm like,
I know.
and I
It's like when
can't take
somebody
that.
freezes, nobody freezes on Zoom without it being a very awkward look, right?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Anyway, so
Yes.
welcome to Rip Currents. Uh, Julie Boak and Scott Martin. We're hosting today an awesome session, giving you an update and what's new, what's great about marketing, advertising, and maybe what's not so great and what we need to talk more about in detail. So we've had a pretty amazing week. Let's start with you. You've had you got to give us an update because it's been a couple weeks. You were traveling. Give us
Yes.
a little update of what you've been up to and what you want to share with the group.
So last week I was actually at Inbound. I went to San Francisco. First time that Inbound has been in San Francisco, and next year they are going back to Boston. They typically host in Boston. And
Okay.
if you're not familiar with Inbound, it's by HubSpot. Fun fact, I'm not a HubSpot user. I don't have the HubSpot platform, but I found their conferences pretty interesting. And last year when I went, they started talking about AI agents, and immediately I bought the ticket for this year because I thought if we're starting to have the conversation on AI agents, it's just always going to be more important next year. So much to no one's surprise, HubSpot came out, Inbound opened up with a whole discussion about AI and how to reframe the way you think about AI in your business. And for marketers, how you should think about using AI in your business. So that was my week last week, and we can touch on any concepts from there. And then this week was just, it's always I think it's always good for us as marketers to go out and engage and be part of these conferences and meet people just like us, fielding and experiencing the same issues that we are. But then you always come back and it's a fire hose for a week of catch up and things. And not to mention that this is also the time frame when, like, I know we've talked about this before in our businesses. This is the busiest time of
Oh,
year,
it is. Yeah.
right? Like everybody comes back from, their summer holiday or from, just time off in the summer, or offices get back together, and September is that month where everybody wants something new, something exciting, something refreshed. And I love it. Like I love that transition time, but all of this in conjunction makes it for just a very busy week. How was your week?
Well, my week was good. I mean, I wasn't traveling, so it was a nice change. Speaking of traveling, I mean, I spent years every 3 weeks on a plane somewhere when I was doing my Tony Robbins tour stuff, and it drove me bananas because I was either working hard to get caught up, then traveling, and then trying to catch up, and it's just like it throws off everything. I
Mhm.
don't love it. I love the travel, but I don't love that catch up and it just when
Yeah.
things would settle, I'd have to go again. So I love the consecutive. And right now, I'm with you. Like I'm launching a new course called the Mindful Marketer with Guru Singh.
Oh,
That's going
I've
to be
been waiting for this. You were telling me about this one.
yeah. I'll give you early access to it. If you're in my community, if you're a member of my community, you want to sign up my community, I'll give you early access. But it took us about 25 hours of conversations. It was based on us having a podcast together, and it was him. He's just like the third generation guru yogi, but he's like such a worldly, knowledgeable guy of ancient wisdom and universe and laws of nature and biomimicry. Like the guy knows stuff like it's pretty phenomenal. And I would just kind of we talked about branding and marketing, and he was like, it really riffed really well, and it did probably one of my best performing podcasts. With that turned into us talking and then just doing long form conversations about branding, marketing, and business
Okay.
in a mindful way. Like just really, the outcome would be for people who are kind of find marketing icky or they're maybe an introvert. This is gonna be perfect for them because it's giving permission and a different way of looking at it, but very intentional marketing in a different way, a little softer. But I think right now, I actually think it's going to be a superpower. I mean, just with what's going on with AI, I just saw an article in Advertising Age about how you got to be more real if you're going to really compete in this AI world and stuff. And I'm like, and they call it AI slop is now the new word. So I think that's kind of interesting. So it's kind of I think it's timely I thought it was late, but now I feel like it's even more timely. So I'd love to hear from you, though. I mean, I have a great week. I want to hear about what you learned. What are your takeaways from this event in, was it London? You were in England, or where
No,
were you?
this one was in San Francisco.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
San Francisco. Seems appropriate. It's funny when you get off the plane in San Francisco and you start heading towards your hotel, you can't help but notice that, Scott, easily 75% of the billboards are related to AI. And like, of course, California Tech Hub, but you're going through and you can't help but think like everything is changing all of a sudden, right? It feels very different where we are, right? We have ads for realtors and dentists and all of these things. Imagine living in a space where all of your billboards, or the vast majority of your billboards, are all about technology, and how that, just that feeling is like a disconnection from the world and from humanity. Like you're not even thinking about how you participate in the world. You're thinking about what technology is going to come in, right? So you're first influenced by that. But um, the opening of Inbound started with a conversation about marketing. People in marketing should be looking at AI as a team member and not like as a replacement. Like, we've heard the adage that says AI won't replace you, somebody using AI will. But what if we just frame that and said, how can we look at using AI as a team member for what I'm doing, not replacing what I'm doing, but as a team member to what I'm doing, enhancing what I'm doing, offering more productivity, or offering more speed, more insight, because there are a lot of things that AI can't replace. And we've talked about all the things that we think that AI can't replace. But I think the funniest example I got, and the truest, clearest example that I got, was Colin Jost was one of the key speakers, right? He came and did a comedy act. And he actually, without knowing who HubSpot was, he did a nice little roast on HubSpot. But he said, this conference is all about AI. So I decided to get AI to write my opening speech from the tone and voice of Michael Che, which is his co anchor on Saturday Night Live. And then he read it out verbatim to us, and it was horrible. It was brutal. It was not funny. It was kind of lame, and it proved to us that there's a very human sentiment that we can't get replaced, right? And that the essence of our personality and who we are can't necessarily be replaced. And that's where we can use AI as a team member to help facilitate some of our stuff. But it's so vital and important, and probably something that your mindful marketing course will actually help with, is that even if you use this AI as a tool, how do you add you into it? Because you are the valuable asset, right? If we can all use AI, we are the valuable asset. So to think we're going to allow AI to replace us, that's our decision. I use AI to help write things all the time, but then I'll be like, how do I craft that so it still sounds like me? And it doesn't mean a better prompt. It doesn't mean, more sequence or whatever. It means maybe I just need to add how I would frame that, or how I
Isms.
would reference it. Yes, and
Personal
I think
isms.
that's such an important thing, is that AI has so many capabilities, but if we use it as a teammate to help our work and then overlay ourselves with it, that's probably a more interesting product than just depending on AI alone. Obviously, I think that sometimes, our wholly 100% human work is always valuable. I do think that sometimes we miss things. It could be like, you know, is there a better word that I could use here? Or what am I missing in this paragraph? I'm not capturing something. So using AI to help fill in things, or, challenge my thinking on this. I love using AI as a banter tool, to have your thinking challenge. But still, I am present. I am present in all of my AI applications, and I think that's where the value is. So we talked a lot about that, and of course Neil Patel was there, and he talked about how Google is still, I think the number was 27% of the searches. Instagram is climbing.
Hmm.
So while we didn't have AI take over everything yet, We're still in a spot where some of our traditional tools are still very powerful and still very important. We also got into, something. It's interesting, Scott. Like, as much as we've moved forward with this concept of AI, there were so many things we went back to that harnessed traditional marketing and marketing mindset that had so much more value. Like, we talked about personal branding and how very important that is, if not more important now in an AI world, personal branding could be and should be, and how we should look at it a bit differently. And I know a huge touch spot for you, something that you love working on so much. People have probably asked you, is personal branding still relevant? Is it still important? And I would suggest that it's probably even more important and more relevant as we go into this world, right? That's where our trust it can be developed, right? And what does it say about your personal brand if your personal brand is you using AI all the time without any personal? So
Yeah.
it's a pretty interesting dynamic conference, highlighting a lot of AI, but highlighting a lot of where we play into the effectiveness and value of AI as well.
Cool. Great download. Lots to unpack. Where do you want to go with that? What you've learned there? Was there something that you want to jump off from to kind of dive into a little bit?
What's funny is I actually found I was surprised by how many marketers were still not open to using AI. We're still not
Is it
receptive.
fear or is it reluctance or is it belief? Like, what is the reason do you think that is?
I think I think we create messages when we have fear. I think when the only cure for fear is knowledge. And so we hear things about what AI can do, what it will do. Oh, AI will replace you,
Mhm.
whatever. And we all get into a state of fear. And then we try using AI. And those who have used AI will say, oh, it's not there yet. It's not replacing me yet. And I think there's a value in understanding that, and understanding and actually playing with the tools, understanding the tools, and figuring out where the tools can work for with you as a coworker. Like we learned, there was a whole session on, effective prompting. And even with effective prompting, it still takes a human to make the prompt. It still takes a human to assess and evaluate the response, because AI provides answers, and they will only provide answers based on the quality of our questions, the quality of our human input. So if we're not, as humans, using the best of our abilities to work with AI, the results of AI are not going to be very strong, or as strong as we'd like them to be, or strong enough to even take our job. But if we're not adding our human onto the end of it as well after the prompt, it's not going to resonate. And robot can always talk to each other, but forever our audience is still humans. So if we want to talk to humans, we have to talk like humans. We have to act like humans. We have to understand nuances of humans. So I think a lot of the core principles of marketing and the value of us marketers in the role, designers, all of that, still incredibly valuable.
I think the rise of more real and demonstrating that it's real. Example, I was just on a call last night with a client in Australia, and he was showing me his content and his website and stuff, and I just asked him, I go, oh, you know, you should really maybe think about not using stock footage because you really want to kind of demonstrate that you've. He goes, actually, it's not, and I'm like, oh, then maybe I need to know that. Like,
Yeah.
I need to know that that image that was the building that you actually built and stuff, right? So I said maybe put like a little location. This is building number A, and this is whatever the
Learn
project.
more about this project on this
Yeah,
building.
whatever. Just demonstrating, and it reminds me of when we did shoots with Basecamp, and we were getting so good with the quality of the photos because we were trying to shoot with our brand on it, the Basecamp brand over top of the Skidoos, and we were hearing that people didn't actually recognize we did these huge posters in the store,
Mhm.
and they thought they were Skidoo posters. And I'm like, isn't that interesting? We've actually got to the caliber of that, but we're not getting the credit for we're part of this industry. This is us going out and eating our own dog food, going out and we're not just selling these skidoos, we're in the industry.
Yeah.
Like we're out in the wilderness with you, right? We get it. So we started putting like locations, tags on it. And I think that's just sort of what people are craving is they don't believe their eyes anymore. I think I on you were when you were away, I had another guest on, Craig, and I was saying I got someone that I met on LinkedIn. I gave him really put some thoughtful comment. I thought it was pretty lengthy, maybe, but it was maybe that. But after they connected with me, and they're like, I can tell this is done with AI, and they're like, they were quite enraged. I'm like, no, no, it wasn't actually, and it made me think of like I didn't do AI, and she accused me of using AI. It means that there's a level of mistrust of like I can't I can't deal with you. I don't trust you if I feel like this isn't you, right? And so I feel like that is the what we're moving in toward, and I think that people who are genuinely, you know, can be that raw and real, and that Ford are going to win. The people that are hiding behind overproduced content, they're gonna. It's just going to get harder to get trust. I think that's really
Mhm.
the essence of his trust, right? So
Well, one of the big points from Neil Patel was video. And it's when you think about that, if we're a brand, if we're a business and we're afraid of being in front of the camera, if we're afraid of taking real raw video with our iPhone, we're people will never really know, right?
yeah.
They will think that we're just using AI for everything or we're just doing static things that there's no person behind everything. But when you add that element of video, it's a lot more videos are a lot more
I am
frequently shared, consumed.
completely guilty of this. I mean, ripcurrents was the first time I've really been in front of the camera. I mean, podcast,
Ooh.
sure, but I mean, this ripcurrents going live, and the fact that we're going live, there's no editing, is me stepping into my total reluctance to be that way. I never take the camera and am on Instagram and do it. I mean, take a look at my Instagram; it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So I rarely do it. So this is me actually stepping into that very thing it's not comfortable for me.
Well, let's talk about that. I think this is actually a really, really important area because I've worked with a lot of business owners in the past and they were the same way. I don't want to get in front of the camera. I don't want to get in front of the camera. But they would say to me, "Oh, I want to do videos like this." And I'm like, "Well, that will require you getting in front of the camera." You know what makes it easier to get in front of the camera?
Getting in front of the camera.
Getting in front of the camera. And I will tell you, I think one of the most useful tools for getting comfortable in front of the camera is actually TikTok because it's not like Instagram. Instagram you feel like you have to be a little bit more polished. LinkedIn even more so. But TikTok is like you could be laying on your bed having a conversation. You can be out and about
Yeah.
walking having a conversation. Though it's where people want to really connect with a real version of you. So it doesn't have those standards and or those demands. Whereas Instagram does feel like, people have a little bit more of a prestige or a polish that you should uphold to. And I think that's where there's more retakes. TikTok, you don't do retakes. You're like, yeah, this is what happened. That's fine. But I think as business owners, we also have to remember it doesn't necessarily mean our face has to be in front of the camera. We can do, a day in the life and go through our day. You just see me tapping on my keyboard periodically, walking my dog, things like that. You don't actually have to
So
see
that's
my
stuff I'm comfortable with, but it's you know what it is, and it's not even this I'm uncomfortable with. It's me taking this phone and going, "Hey, look at me." It's that is actually my maybe I need to get coached by some mental. There's some mental block that I have about me holding the camera, and I think it has something to do with this idea of I want to have influence. I mean, that's why I'm doing this, but I feel there's a certain level of discomfort about it's about
vanity.
me, pay attention to me, it's the influencer kind of, vibey thing that for me I just sort of I don't know, I just have resistance to it. So I get it. Like I know what you're saying and I all the things you're talking about, like you don't have to be in front of the camera. I get it. I coach people on that. For me, it's literally holding the camera and talking to the camera, and just that piece right there. I don't mind this. The zoom, the setting is like a little
Mhm.
different. This is like that was a step up doing this raw thing, but for me, it's my barrier up where I'm going to do more of it. I'll start getting more comfortable with it, but I don't think I'm alone in that. I think there's something about it that I feel like there's a level of professionalism I think you can span where you get too comfortable and it doesn't feel
Mhm.
very professional. I applaud people that can just be like on the couch, upside down, going, "Hey, let's talk about marketing." I'm like, that's not me. It's not my brand. You know, it's maybe I'm a little more formal. I
Mhm.
don't know. Maybe that's what it is. But yeah, it's just holding the camera.
So
Yeah,
so you can use a tripod for one, but
I know I could do that. I totally
these
could. I'm fine if
I
someone
also
else is holding
love
the camera. I don't care. I can be in crowds. I'm fine. But
there's some settings that I really enjoy when I see online. Like when people are sitting on a chair and they're just having a conversation or they're being interviewed. It's like an interview style, but you only see the one person. Very
yeah,
common
yeah.
in podcast styles.
I'm
I
thinking
think
about that
like
too. Like right, like facing this way and just recording. It looks like I'm having a conversation.
yeah, I think there's a different opportunities we can choose, and I understand like it does feel almost like we're feeding our own vanity or we want to become
Totally.
the celebrity of our own business.
Yeah.
I think that's how some people may see or feel it. Others, it's like, you know what, this is just me just being a salesperson. This is just the new look of sales. And I posted about, there was a question posed that if we got rid of social media, how would my business survive? And you probably had the same first thought that I did. I was in marketing long before social media. I'll
Like
tell
it
you
does.
what we did.
It would be. It wouldn't. It would be great. It would do nothing.
Well, the thing
I
is
would
that
find a way
we
around
did
it.
a
It's
million
really,
things before
yeah.
social media. We would go back to some of those. And I think
Well,
that
when
social
people
media
tell me
has,
like, I mean, I don't know about your experience, but I've asked all my clients the same question. I asked, where are you getting your leads? Like, are you tracking it? So, if you don't know where you're getting your source leads, by the way, anyone listening to that, if you aren't sourcing where your leads are coming from, you're not really running your business. You don't really know where your spend is.
mhm,
But I ask them, I go, where are you getting your leads? And they're putting 80% of their energy or 90% of their energy in social media, for example. But I'm like, but yet they get 90% of their leads from word of mouth. And I'm like, what if you actually reinvested in ways that created more word of mouth? And I feel like that's like, it's a little old schooly thinking, but the truth is, it's I think you need to be there for social evidence and stuff. But the truth, I don't know that all businesses are getting all their leads from social media. And it's sort of like if it's just a good thought exercise about anyone listening, where are you truly getting your leads and where are you putting your energy?
mhm,
It doesn't mean that you shouldn't put more energy in social media because maybe that's more just being discovered and being out there. It's just a thought. It's just like take an audit of where you're at.
mhm.
Um, I don't get my leads from social media, but my leads that I get from relationships they find me on to check on me or to incubate or to learn a little bit more about me, they find it on social media. I think that it plays a supporting role, not the leading role.
There's actually statistics on that with regards to LinkedIn. I can get into that. I found that in my at one of our courses, but
Oh, yeah.
um, I'll say I get a bunch of leads from social media, varying, and some will be like, "Oh, my friend used you. I looked you up. I found you." Different things. But I think there's a place for a lot of things. And what I will say is that what social media is it's a visibility tool. And we used to have a lot of visibility without social media. And social media essentially became, I don't want to call it a hack because I don't think that's the right word, but the easy pathway. Instead of me going out to meet 20 people, I could go on social media and have
Yeah.
20 people maybe see my post. Instead of me doing leads, I can do ads on social media. So it actually became like almost a lazy opportunity, a lazy tool with of all the tools that we used to use before. So I think that
Well,
we would
social
go
media
back,
has never made it easier to market and it's never made it harder to market.
right?
It's never
So
made it easier to get visibility, but harder to make connection.
yeah.
So I think that's why using like this medium, like going live and raw and kind of putting it out there and having it available on LinkedIn is just I think this is one of the thinner edges of the wedge to grow
Mhm.
on social media because it hacks the you get the alert that someone's gone live. I don't know if I told you I'm in a growth group. Did I tell you about I'm doing this growth in reverse group?
Yeah.
So it's with Chanel. I forget her last name. Sorry, Chanel, if you're listening to this. But I met her at the event. She was just an incredible growth hacker. She's got this concept called growth in reverse, where she reverse engineers growth patterns with examples of campaigns and different things. And
Mhm.
she's brilliant. She just kind of dissects it. So she did a growth challenge for 30 days. And I'm in it right now, and with a bunch of other people that are marketers and stuff. And I've grown. I've actually got like I've probably got like I've added like almost 800 followers in the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks almost that I've been doing it. I've been more aggressive because of it. But I haven't actually. I'm not even doing the full challenge because I'm so busy. But
Mhm.
it's like posting every day, and but a lot of that growth came from the other people in the group and the community as well. So
Yeah.
there's that. But I'm not sure what I was going to say about that other than the reason for that growth is consistency, and I'm doing it with other people. The other people that are in the community, they're seeing your posts, they're supporting you, and it's like as a group, we're all kind of like all the ships are kind of going up a little bit, and I see that as being possibly these. Remember my book I was told you in the past about the circles of trust.
Yep.
I think there's gonna be growth circles of trust where it's like it's like they call it potting and growth hacking. Like, oh, if you like my like we all like and comment on each other's posts to kind of
Yeah.
help the algorithm. But I think that's sort of like a surface hack. I think it's more deeper than that, which is we as a community support each other. Like when you post something, I post it, I know that we support each other, right? Like I think just creating that's actually one of the best ways because it's kind of a form of word of mouth, right? In
Well,
social.
and I like the word that you use there. We just support each other. Support, not growth hacking. I am not liking your post for a growth hacking agenda. I am supporting you in your business. And I find it so interesting. There's kind of a, you get into a field where there's people who believe that there's only light enough for one. And I believe,
Hmm.
collaboration over competition, right? Like you can collaborate with a ton of people. It's not going to hurt your business.
I call it coopetition.
Yeah, like I have worked with a lot of people who were my competition,
Hmm.
and together we've all grown, right? Together we've all done stuff. I never see it as like, oh, either you're gonna win or I'm gonna win. We can all win. I guarantee there's clients you love that I would not love, clients that I don't get along with that you would get along with. Like sometimes, that having that relationship is just mutually beneficial. And then having opportunities to bounce ideas off of. I think oftentimes as freelancers, as solo business owners, you know, people working remotely, we get isolated in our circles and even going to conferences and having these online communities, whether you're joining them or just supporting one another, it does make you feel a little less isolated, right? It feels like you're part of something bigger. And I think community is just, it's going to be get huger and huger as time goes forward. And so I think you've done a great job building a lot of good communities.
Thank you. Um, there's a soundbite that I want to pull. I'm just making sure I get the words right. It's that you and I are entrepreneurs. We run our agency and we work on our own and we rely on the word of mouth. And a lot of entrepreneurs, there's people that have their family and their friends, and they won't lift a finger to like or comment. That's all the entrepreneurs need is just a little sign of support. So if you're listening to this and you have a friend that's got their startup or their business, like for God's sakes, just like and comment. Like it means the world to us. When you just even share once in a while like something you like from it. That's all that, and it's just it's quite amazing to me how also I hear from people going, no, their family and friends are almost like anti-support in some way, and they don't even realize how meaningful it is and how hard it is to be an entrepreneur
Mhm.
on your own. And it means the world. If you want to support an entrepreneur and you don't want to buy from them, then just support them. Just like or comment or do a little bit of a share. You don't have to do it that often. It just means the world. I mean, to me, it does anyways. I mean, just once in a while, just like show up. And when someone does, I pay attention.
Mhm.
I'm like, I remember that. When people connect with me on LinkedIn, I give an assignment and I check if because I usually I give a I want to make meaningful connections. That's usually how I start. And here's what,
Mhm.
and before you do, I'd love it if you did these things. If they come back to me with a hard pitch and they didn't do try to look at me a little bit, but if they liked their comment or just did one little thing there, I will do the same. I'll reciprocate more than they've give back to me, and I'll happily hear the pitch. I'll even make a meeting. But so it's amazing how little effort people are willing to put in, and they just focus on the high level surface connection,
Mhm.
especially on LinkedIn. It's just like it's let's connect, and then the next thing is a pitch.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what that lady thought that I was trying to do, which I wasn't. I was actually giving her free content, but it to me, I feel like that is it's interesting. I didn't know where we're going to go there, but to me, it's like maybe talking a little bit about support. Like we create support in a collective with people you want to partner with, but just appealing to how we can get more people, that your family, your friends, the people that are here creating, being entrepreneurs, to get the people that are closest to them to support them a little bit. Do you have any strategies there that you've done that worked?
No, but we didn't plan on going here because we don't plan these calls.
No,
So
I know for
I was
sure.
gonna say, do you know what? Do you know what else? Like, if we were to add insult to injury on all of this, there's nothing that almost like you're as an entrepreneur to see your friends or your family liking one of the Kardashians' posts and not yours, and you're
Oh,
trying
all
so
day
hard.
long? I know.
You're actually like making an impact in your community, helping, doing charitable work, volunteering, and people are loving on the celebrities that are like not even doing anything in your community. And it's like people almost have like, I only have 4 likes to give today. I don't want to give it to the what if something better comes up? You have unlimited likes. It's like you no longer have a camera roll with 24 photos on it. You have an iPhone that can take unlimited photos. Just I hand out likes like they're candy. Nothing makes me feel better than to look like a nice person. I hand out compliments like crazy because nothing makes me feel better than to feel like a good person. So I actually met someone who was like just like me at the conference in San Francisco, and I'm like, "Are you Canadian?" So she's
Oh
like,
wow.
"No, I just
So you're
love them."
pretty liberal with your likes and comments, eh?
You know what? But because I know
I'm
how
not. So
hard it
I
is.
got another take on that. It's gonna make me feel like a total a-hole when I see
No, you know what? I'm like, I'm 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 less liberal with my comments because
okay.
I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm gonna contribute something or I have something to say, or sometimes it just rubs a nerve or trickles a thought or something like that. So I don't comment on everything. But I will like I'm like dun, 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 like I'm like my mother-in-law. She likes everything. I am like I love that you showed up. You deserve a like because you showed up today. I don't my standards are not going to be high. You got here, you showed up, you put something out into the world, you were brave enough. I'm going to celebrate you. Like I don't have a problem with that. And the clients accounts that I manage, they're mass lovers too because why
Mhm.
aren't we all just nice people? That's how I feel about it. Comments, they take a little bit
Yeah.
more time. So
Yeah.
I do take more time and I'm a little bit more reserved with them because I want them to be thoughtful. I don't want to just go like, hey, thumbs up, way to go. I want to actually like, I want you to know that I read your whole post. I gave it a consideration. I had time. But if I don't have time, I'll still like your post.
Yeah, liking I'm a little more open with, but I'll even use like the shock or the fire.
Yeah.
That's like I got 3 tiers. That means I actually liked what you're saying. Like that's me going, like this is good. Like
Yeah.
you know what I mean. And then if I actually comment, I give them very sparingly, but when I do, it's meaningful. Like you know what I mean. So I have my 3 sort of tiers, but I don't like just I don't just like randomly. I think maybe I need to be more liberal with it, like I should be, because now I'm saying, hey, you should probably support other people. So that's why I feel like a little bit like a jerk for saying that. But the truth is like if I liked or commented, like I did, like I
Hmm.
legitimately did. I didn't just skim over it and just like it. I actually like if I liked it, it means I actually paid
Read
attention to
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that we are
Yeah.
on 2 ends of the spectrum
Yeah.
because that shows the world there are different types and that's okay. But when you're a friend or a family of a business owner, no thought whether you read the
Yeah.
post or not, whether you like the post or not, you should just like the post, give it a heart, right? Like
Yeah.
it is such a small thing that you can do to help a business. And then if you're a mad fan of a business, I'm always going to pitch this because this is one of the things I studied at Harvard was give a company a review. I think
You.
we've talked about this before,
Yeah.
but not only does it help their SEO, help their credibility online, like that's just it's just a nice thing. So I think not a discussion we planned on getting into, but I think it's an important one. And as we go into more of an AI world, I think it's nice to know which businesses, are real, which
Mhm.
ones. I think the likes, don't get me wrong. I bet you there's going to be a bot, if there's not already a bot that will just go liking everything on your behalf.
Yeah, totally. And then it just becomes almost like irrelevant, you
Mm-hmm.
know. I really like I when it, This to me is a hard rule, like hard rule. If I'm driving and the kids are having a lemonade stand, I fucking stop. No matter
Ooh,
what. It's a hard yes. Yes, you're doing a lemonade stand, I'm all in.
yeah.
Anyone in this neighborhood that I'm driving through, I know every lemonade stand that's ever been propped up. There was actually, I got to take a picture of one that was like extraordinarily good. I was going to write an article about it. I probably still should, but that's a hard yes. The other is, I had a young man. I wasn't really didn't really need my windows cleaned necessarily, but he was young. He was like early 20s, like he just started his own business, and he's got a window cleaning business. And I'm like, done, and I wrote a review for him because I'm like, that's what we need more of. It was like he was, imagine the fear of like knocking on a door. Hey, would you like to your windows? Like, to me, that is the heart and soul of people trying to create their own future, and the spirit, the lion
Mm.
heart of the entrepreneur. I just like, especially when someone's new and they're just trying to get their sea legs. I just have so much for them. I'm a sucker. I'm like, how can I help? Like, I want to like just let me help you, buddy. So yeah.
That walking around, knocking on doors is the same thing as posting on social media. It's all visibility, right?
I
Like
think that one's harder. I think knocking on someone's door is way different than being visible on social media. I
yeah,
think
I
it
think
takes
it's
way
probably
more guts
easier.
to walk up to someone's door and go, which right now in this world, we don't want people calling us or going to our door. I don't answer my door very often. He was younger, so I opened the door because I saw the camera, but normally I ignore people at the door. But I'm like, that takes a lot of guts to knock on someone's
Yeah.
door.
Yeah,
I'd
if
have a,
someone's not standing there with a clipboard, I'm happy to answer my door. So
oh
all
yeah,
those people who are trying to sell me something with a clipboard in their
shows the
hand,
spectrum. You're
they'll
happy to
just
do
show
it.
up
I'm
without the
reluctant. Yeah,
clipboards now. But
yeah,
yeah, you know what? I'm the same way. I do think that it's so important for us to reward people for trying. And it is such a challenging world sometimes with as business owners, we have so many obstacles in our way, so many challenges, so many things that we're dealing with. Like as a business owner before, you open your door, you put an ad in the newspaper, you're really good at customer service and you get customers. Now we're constantly competing with so many businesses, so many visuals, so many distractions, right? Bureaucracy, regulations, blockades that it's even harder to be a business owner. So the fact that people are surviving and what the average business doesn't last longer than 5 years, if I'm correct. But it's
well,
it's
it's less
really
than that. It's
it's
less than
really
that. It's two.
shallow.
It's under
So
3 years. Yeah.
yeah, so really showing up for your friends and family that have a business, showing up for the businesses that you like, hugely important, and not just showing up when it's convenient. There was a clip from and just like that, if you're a girl, Scott, I don't expect that you have seen this one. But on just like that, Carrie Bradshaw goes into a bakery and she's ordering pies, and a customer behind says to the owner, "Hey, I thought you weren't taking any more pie orders," and she says, "I'm not." And then Carrie proceeds to order more pies, and the business owner turns to the lady and says, "You know this person? She ordered pies from me even during the pandemic. Didn't pick them up. Nobody was seeing one another, but she ordered 4 pies." That's the kind of support we all want. Like, I'm not saying go buy stuff and then don't use
Hmm.
it, but we just want that regular support, right? Like, get your coffee at least once a week from somebody local.
Totally.
Go in and
Yeah.
stop in a restaurant. I thought about this during the pandemic. If we all just went to a restaurant once a week or order from a restaurant once a week, we could make a whole difference. If we all bought a card from an art gallery, we could keep more art galleries open. Like I just think of we're all we all contribute to the impact. And as marketers, it's so hard for us because there's these different expectations on building brands and websites and everything like that. And sometimes we just want to communicate to our audience that it really is just those those that compounding of little things that keep businesses open. And sometimes it's just someone smiling back at you as a business owner and recognizing how hard it is that makes your day easier.
Very well said. On the flip side,
Mm.
a lot of times you can like I don't know how much I've sometimes wonder, is anyone even listening? Is like, and then you get these like crazy like, I've been following you for years, or
Mhm.
actually today my wife says, "Do you remember this girl? This is like, I don't know, I think it must have been like 7 years ago, that you met at the one of the first events or whatever, and she was I was just on a call with her, and you impact her life, and she's still talking about you." And I'm like, "Who?" And showed me a picture, and I'm like, "I don't even remember," but I'm like, that just shows that, work what we do in private, the work we do, the practice, the showing up, the doing the recordings, like even this, there may be one person that really need to hear one of the things that we're saying, and that if that's all it did, I'm like thrilled.
Hmm.
And you just don't even know. So like, even if you're not getting the love from your family and friends, even if you're not getting what seems to be any visibility for your posts, I got to tell you, how many people don't like or comment, but they pay attention.
They're still
They
seeing you.
actually are listening. It's I'm amazed sometimes when I'm like, I've never like people they'll talk to me like they know me, or I'm like, I follow you all the time. I'm like, I've never because I pay attention. I've never seen you like, comment, or anything on anything I've done. So that's interesting. So I think there's also that too, which is just know that you're making an impact.
So you're telling me there are Scots out there that are seeing our posts without liking them,
There's
but
a lot.
still remembering and
Hey,
allowing
wait a minute. I'm
those
not one of those
posts to
people
make an
that's totally
impact.
ghosting everybody. I'm still liking and commenting.
Yeah,
I'm just saying
I know.
when I do it, it's with meaning. That's all I'm
I
saying.
actually have a client of mine, and every time, like, I'll go out for dinner with him, try to like once or twice a year, and he's like, "Oh, I saw that post you did." Da da da. He's never liked a single one of my
There you go.
posts in
Yeah,
13 years. In 13 years. But we will have conversations about my posts. And to me, it doesn't matter. The whole point of what I'm showing up to do is to offer information, insight, allow people to get to know me, all of that. But I'm still doing everything that I'm doing from a genuine intent. I'm not doing it for the likes. I'm not doing it for the attention. I'm not doing it for the algorithm. I'm just trying to show up as I am.
totally.
So,
And I feel like also that, hey, can I, can I bend your ear, and it's like getting free advice is another component. And if you're listening to this and it's your friend's business, and you're going, well, you're in branding and marketing, can you just help me? Don't do that. Pay them. You're friends. Like, just
mhm.
pay them to do it. I think that just it's the one of the biggest, like, I think they just think, well, you're my friend. Why would I have to pay it? It should be the opposite. You almost should be thinking I should pay twice as much because you want to support your friends. And
Mhm.
I sometimes wonder, like, I'm going, hey, people that will spend a ton of money on a six-figure branding, but I'm like, hey, join my community. You can also, for $44 a month, you can be live with me if you want to. And they're like, yeah, I don't know if it's worth it. I'm like, so there's an illogical thing going on, I think,
Mhm.
with people that I don't know if that's ever going to change, but I haven't quite figured it out. Like some of that, because, and I think it's because you and I we're in it, we're working. I think people that are outside of that, they don't have the same. It's like somebody that can't appreciate, or what it's like to feel that way. So I
Yeah.
think a lot of entrepreneurs and creators right now are listening and going, I know how you feel, I get it, right? But maybe this is the message to go to the people who are not as sensitive to that, just going, that's how we feel. It's like
Mhm.
I give you, I'm willing to do this, but like I give you something that's like of exponential value with a cheap price, and you're like, I don't know if it's worth it. You really got to ask yourself, like, in the end, is if, like, there's been a couple things that I've been surprised with, where there was someone I respected. I just joined. Actually, I'll tell you straight up who it is. It was Mark Schaefer. I went for breakfast with him, and a bunch of people talked about his private event, and I was like, this is interesting. That's not, and it wasn't that, but there was a community he has, and I'm like, it was like, and it's the same thing with this growth in reverse. It was just, I really thought she was an amazing strategist. I wasn't really intending to join the community. I was going to give the $100, but I kind of fell into it, and I realized this is a great value,
Mhm.
and it just shows that the intention I had was, I'm going to support them, because I'm like, if I did a challenge, I sure hope that the people would just sort of take a leap of faith and do that with me too. That's why I'm hoping that maybe someone can hear this message, is just like, just pay the little bit extra money. You don't have no idea how meaningful that is to somebody. Even though it's not about the money, it's just about the support. It's like another level
Mhm.
of support. And asking for free stuff or just waiting till it's free, I think there's a point where the rubber hits the road, and man, I don't know what I got to say about that.
I always find that is, and this is kind of, I think this is a marketing law, is that the lower you charge, or when you help your buddy for free, I even found this
They
working
don't value
for
it,
my
yeah.
husband, they're a very challenging client. and it's kind of catches you off guard. It's like
Hmm.
you came to me for the expertise, and you absolutely don't want it because it's free. People don't value that which they get for free, which is something that sits in my mind when somebody says, well, can you just do that for free? And I'm like, well, then you won't value it. And I
Right.
want you to value and love what is created. And the only way to do that is for you to feel it. And sometimes feeling it means costing money, and whether we invest time, money, resources, whatever it is, you have to invest something in something else to be connected to it.
It is so true. People pay attention to what they pay. I've given two people the same advice. One was free, one was paying a six figure in a branding scenario. And the one that was doing that was applied it vigorously and did really well with it. The other one goes, yeah, I didn't really think it was going to work or it didn't work, whatever. And it just shows the energy of it. It's
Yeah.
like you, so I think it's so true. Although the reason I have my community at that rate is because I want to make it accessible to people that are just not. So it's like, I could certainly raise the prices of that. So it is it there's it always I always kind of I kind of struggle with that a little bit, like just having something a little accessible that's really really affordable, and maybe that's what's preventing me from even more growth is to just increase the price, and maybe that's what I need to do.
Well, you know what? I love some yoga studios have karma trade-offs, right? Like you can work for the studio and you get free classes.
Hmm.
And I think, you know what? That is somebody investing their time. If they're not investing money, they're investing their time. If you're not investing your
Well, that
time, you have
yeah, I
to
think
invest
that's fair enough
resources.
too. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you think, we're just giving something, it's like reciprocity, right? We're giving something to receive something, then we value it even more because we've attached something else of ours to it.
Yeah.
And I think that's almost an important context into why you should never ask your friend to do something for free is for your own sake, for your own business, you will value it more.
Well said. And on that, with the time we got left, we got to get into what we're going to talk about today. So
Nike.
there's that and what I want to talk about as
Oh,
well.
let's hear
So,
it.
well, okay, do you want me to start?
Okay, yeah, go
So,
ahead.
um, so there's a campaign that came out by Apple, and I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna play the ad, and then I want to comment on it, if that's all right. I'm gonna first just play the.
Yeah, I know none of this, so I'm
No, I
gonna be
know.
watching
I
this
haven't even told you
blind.
because I meant to talk about it in the pre, and we just kind of got, as usual, we just got kind of just in
No,
the zone.
I literally, I'm that girl that hit buy on her Apple iPhone this morning, so I'll be getting it between October 10th and October 20th with a huge dent in my credit card. But I can talk about that too. But so this is
Okay,
exciting.
here we go. So this is. Let me just play this, and then I'm gonna make my comment. I think I need to go here now. Hopefully, you can tell me if you can't hear the sound. I think I need to share with sound, but just can you hear the sound?
I can hear the sound.
Okay. So this was the beginning of Apple's a big conference they're doing, And what I love about this is it is the epitome of brand coherence. Let me explain why. Number one is when I talk about brand coherence, it's about the connective tissue between all the different ways you're communicating, all lines of business, all the way that you're designing some visual design to the sound to product design. So Apple, they're showing from every aspect. Let's just talk about shapes. The shapes, the circles, the ovals. They're creating the connective tissue between all their products and the visual design, even down to the building from a outlet to even the building design, how it's all cohesive. The connective tissue there, the coherence of the simplicity of the shapes, the designs, and how they overlay like tapestry. To me, it just demonstrates that they have such a command of brand coherence, the feeling that they want to have, and the reason they create that feeling is it's a sleight of hand in design, which is it's like when you see a pattern. I don't like when you think of a Coke bottle. The brief that they had for a Coke bottle, the original creative brief was create a bottle that could be unmistakable in the dead of night and broken. Talk about a brief that's hard. We want you to make a bottle that it's unmistakably a Coke. And by the way, if you see a Coke bottle, a little
You
broken
know it.
even piece of sea glass, you know that was a Coke bottle.
Hmm.
Like that's how great, like how cohesive that is. So to me, I just love this because in right now I'm really diving in and writing in this ebook right now called Brand Coherence, and this was just an example that I'm going to be writing a prolonged sort of article. But I just loved how in that's the first time I've seen someone go from tip to tail the entire business and just show the connective tissue, the overlays of brand and visual identity. So there's the visual identity, there's the verbal identity, and there's the visceral identity, and they lay all three right in that identity. That makes it
Hmm.
so cohesive as a brand, and it's brand coherence, perfection.
My first initial feeling was like you're playing a video of my life. So I felt that. I felt being on a MacBook right now. I've got my iPhone, I've got behind me. It felt like it was telling the story of my day.
Hmm.
And that's why I felt like I loved it because I'm like, I all of those are patterns of familiarity for me. And anybody who is, that tied into Apple, like, not everybody needs to use Apple products cross devices, but for those of us that do, like Apple's more than just a product, it's your friend. It helps your workflow and everything. So it just felt like I was watching my day and all the moments I didn't realize that Apple was connecting me. So it really felt really personal. It felt like it really understood the audience. It really understood how we live. And I think that's the important message as well, is it's like we're doing this all in an eloquent, brand coherent way, but we're telling the story of our people. We're telling the story of our audience. We're telling the story of you. And because we didn't really see faces, it could be any one of us. So
Mm,
we could jump in there and be that. And I think it's beautiful. I didn't see that before. I just noticed that the pre-buy date, and I'm like, buy.
nice, thank
And
you.
that's what happens. I
Good
think when you have a
storytelling.
strong enough brand, you don't even think about it. You're like, buy now.
Yeah, it's like the feeling, the visceral feeling
Mhm.
of the continuity, and it takes years and time, and it's like it's like having your brand sometimes. Like I know that you work with one of the companies I helped do the branding with. Am I okay to mention their name at all?
Yeah, yeah,
At HQ, and one of the things I created in the brand guide was using patterns so that you could actually recognize the brand without having the logo there. And I
hmm,
think that's just like that's what Apple. That's what I think real brand coherence is layers of these things that you don't have to always go logo big like I've done here, ripcurrents. Like little subtle things to do that, and it can be color, sound, and but when you start doing this over time and you create these patterns, it gives you more freedom to be really creative, and also creates more ways that people feel a level of trust because when people feel that it seems consistent with our brain, they would subconsciously we just look for things that's a red flag, something's
yeah.
off, and you don't know why. But so brand coherence levels into trust from the design, voice, messaging, the feeling you create, and if you're off on that, so that is why I think you want to hire somebody that really is intent, like you with your UX and the amount of thinking you go through and the psychology. I think that's no AI is going to replace that because it's like connecting these unconnectable things and being able to do it. AI is not going to be able to read the room to kind of figure that out, right? Like
Mhm.
they're getting only input out, right? So that to me is what I think is a real differentiator and an imperative for branding now is this visceral feeling of connection that we're gonna. It's like you're curating. You're like an orchestra, uh, you know, person putting it to all together. So, yeah,
Well,
I
I
just
think
love
this is
that
why
piece.
Apple was what, the first trillion-dollar company,
Hmm.
is because they've mastered all of this. And coming from Steve Jobs, who studied typography, which I studied at this, not very many of us do, but understanding, like, he understood inherently all aspects and how they tie together. When you go into an Apple store, it still feels like the website in real life.
Hmm.
Bringing all of that feeling, that essence, those core things together,
Like,
that's
look at the logo that we created, you and I co-created. There was a lot of thought in it. But there was like I must have went through like 100 fonts, and
Mhm.
then you did some really beautiful tweaks, and it was really about creating this current,
Yeah.
as a font that was a current, and with the one highlight being the dot, and so it's like that's the kind of I believe is what gets me excited. 'Cause I'm an artist in me or whatever, but for me it feels like when someone shows up with focusing on the level of detail and the intentionality that over time it's going to just keep it's like a story unfolding, you know what I mean? That to me is brilliance, and I think that people appreciate that,
I think
especially when
people
because you're
notice that.
yeah, it's an intention,
When that's the thing. I think that when people are like, well, what if we lived in a world where we don't need graphic designers, or as long as I have Canva, I have everything. People think like I can just grab this and use that. But it is the things, it is the little eye details that as a designer you look at and go, what would make this just slightly better? And it is only slightly, but it's incredible how a slight adjustment can have a large impact on our comfort. Like the T and the S didn't line up in this font. And I remember being like, I don't like that. I want them to flow together. And it's a small thing that had I not done it, everybody would have probably been like, "Oh," but because it's so clean, we don't notice it. It doesn't give us a sticky point, right?
and I didn't quite catch it on that. When you did, I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, it makes a difference.
Yeah.
But I think that's where, when people are like, do I need somebody in marketing or not? Do I need somebody to do my professional design or not? Do I need someone to help with my branding or not? There is a lot of things that are not considered when we take an off the shelf sample or solution, that having a real consultant, having someone you can actually talk to, have someone give you a fresh set of eyes on things, a fresh perspective, can make leaps and bounds of improvement for you.
You know, the a lot of times when people are doing design, this is my hallucination. Hallucination is a lot of times they just look myopically on the one thing. And that's why I always start with brand hierarchy initially because I want to see the whole sandbox of what the whole
Mhm.
ecosystem is going to look like because this rip currents it has to fit with groundswell. It's like if you really look at that's what Apple does so well. Their level of brand hierarchy is so clear, and if anyone's struggling with getting clarity on your brand hierarchy is the place to start. Maybe that's a whole other thing we can talk about another time, but that to me is like so critical because that shows its relationship with everything else that you're designing,
Mhm.
and what layer that is. So that and then when you get these little Easter eggs that kind of, if you follow my whole brands, they all kind of connect in some way. I could maybe that's sometime I'll share how that all fits together, but it's because of that. And when you love it, when you hire somebody that loves that, really what it's also doing is it's showing a level of, well, coherence,
Mhm.
a level of like your audience. I think that, don't you love something when it's just sort of like either you're surprised by it or it's connected and it's meaningful? Yeah.
Mhm.
If it's not meaningful to you, how's it going to be meaningful to someone else? I think I wrote an article about if you don't love your brand, how do you expect your audience to like your brand?
Mhm.
I'm amazed at how many people mail it in. They go, yeah, it's good enough. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, me
what,
too. And I'm
what
like,
the
what do you
heck do they
mean
think
good
your
enough?
audience is going to do?
Do you
Yeah.
want to put it on every hat and t-shirt you own? If not, then it's not good enough.
Totally. I'm like, I tell them, I go, if like with the brand, I'm like, we're not done until you literally almost want to tattoo that thing on your arm.
Hmm.
Like that's when we know we've landed the plane. And and usually it's not about the design, it's about the coherence, the story, the layers, the
Hmm.
inner, like that's when it really gels, I think, for owners, when they really get that experience of going through a process, a
Yeah.
thorough process, versus just to go down to designs and just give me a logo, you know? Yeah. Okay,
Well,
done
that's a
my
note
piece.
to
We
finish
got to go
off.
to yours.
Pardon me?
Well, we did my piece. I want to go in. Let's go into yours.
Well, I was going to talk about the Nike "Why Do It" because I one of the comments that I saw over and over again was like, "Oh my gosh, Nike rebranded from Just Do It. They got a new tagline." And not at all true. They did not change their tagline, but I wanted to like note that how powerful is Just Do It when there's a change and everybody is freaking out about it, and noting it like, oh, there's a change. Like, you've nailed and done a great job, Coherence, with your brand and your tagline when you offer a new idea for a campaign only and people are going crazy. I think it was very successful. I love the story behind it, the meaning behind why they chose it. Like, you know, being that ultimate success is the why, right? The just do it is the process of doing it, but what are you getting from it? Why are you doing it? And to just reframe the question in such a clever way to change the conversation. I thought Nike nailed it.
I think somebody watched Simon Sinek start with why.
Could very well. It was
Yeah,
effective. And you know what? If
yeah,
Nike just watched that Simon Sinek just now and came up with it, kudos to them
good for them.
because it's never too late to listen to Simon Sinek.
Yeah, no, totally. Yeah, I think that people they don't understand the difference between a campaign and a tagline. But you bring up a good point. The question I have for anyone that's listening is, if you stop doing what you're doing, would you be missed?
Hmm.
Something there. You know, it's like that like that's a counteraction to the AI slop of just barfing stuff out there. You know, like, would you be missed? Or are you going to be like, people are going to be thankful? I think a lot of people on my feed, I'm like, oh my God, like, please stop. You're just posting more volume because you can. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. Perhaps you want to just pump it back a little bit. However, I was in this really great conversation with Mark Schaefer. He was talking about working with an AI expert, and they're talking about educating AI is different than humans, and that we may have to barf out more content to get preeminence. And so there's this, like, it's an icky feeling of like, you mean, I got, like, it's the opposite of what you should be doing.
Hmm.
And it's this idea around, maybe there's going to be almost like a hidden window for like, almost like code of content that only AI can read, you know, like hidden pages,
Yeah.
so that so they still can read it properly and you get that preeminence, but you still maintain the human thing. So I think there's going to be this duality of it, talking to these AI agents, talking to the AI and talking to humans. I
Yeah.
think that's actually an interesting future discussion. Is, I think that's what's going to be coming, and that's going to be another complexity.
Yeah. No, I
So
did actually hear a thought around that as well when I was at the conference. It wasn't
yeah.
elaborated on, but as a concept, because the amount of content we're going to have to be putting out, when are we going to be restricted on the data? Like, when are we going to have data allocations?
What do you mean by that? I don't know what that means.
Well, we're the impact we're having on the world by the amount of data we're consuming and the amount of data being created, like with AI and everything like that. Our world cannot be, we're not sustainable at this level. So something's going to have to happen.
Oh,
That's a
that gives
conversation.
me joy. You mean there's going to be some sort of, like, like get rid of the
Scale back.
garbage? Great, you know, like, less is more. You know,
Yes. Yeah.
I did a great post. That's one of my best producing posts. I just posted it on 2 days ago, and it's about, I went to this. If you don't mind, maybe we kind of end on this a little bit. But is every day I go drive to Starbucks, and I love my drive. I take the Porsche, I get the top down. I usually have my puffy on if it's cold. I don't really care. And there's a windy road that I like to go, and I just rip into it and stuff. And on the way back, it's really smooth, but it's, kind of windy. But when I go and order my at the drive-through, I'm always like, can I get it with room and a stopper, please? and there's this one person that I'm like, it's it's never gonna happen. I know that person, just they don't even listen. They literally just like, I'm just like, what's the point? And then it's 50-50 shot for anyone else if they remember it. And the challenge is that, tell me anyone that goes to Starbucks and goes to drive through, they fill it to the tippity top.
Mhm.
And I remember asking someone like, why do you guys do that, especially the drive through? Like everyone spills it every time. Sometimes it's so bad I gotta stop right when I pull out and just pour it out. Like, can't you just like give it like, they're like, because somebody complained or that's like their policy. And I'm like, it doesn't make any sense to me that there's that not everybody needs to have it at the tippy top. Like, can't you just make it like, I'm happy to pay just to have like a thumb or a little bit less, but somewhere along the way we've lost our way where it's like they think that that is actually more when really it's less. Like the
Mhm.
right side of my passenger seat's got coffee all down the speaker and stuff. I'm constantly trying to clean it, and for me, every day it's a rub. Every single day it's a rub or a slight, a little like barnacle in the bottom of the ship. It's a little bit of a annoyance. So I should be joyful going to get my Starbucks. I do enjoy doing it, but I'm always like, what's it going to be today? You know, and I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck, you know,
Yeah, and
that's my
I
fault.
commented on that, that's the whole reason I actually don't ever buy coffee on the road, is because I hate when it's full, like, and I'll get tea or whatever. Hate when it's too full. Hate having the gunk in my coffee cup holder. I nope. And I don't want my car to smell like coffee. I love coffee. I just don't want my car to smell like
I
it.
know.
So, you know what, that for this whole talk, people are going to take two things: like your friends' businesses, and get some space in your coffee cup when you go through the drive-through.
There you go. That's a wrap up. Thanks,
Perfect.
everyone. That was a good
Thanks, Scott.
session.
Thank you.
All right. See you guys.